Yo, what's up, man? This is your boy Trent coming at you live on Talk to Me podcast, man. Where we keep it 100 with everything that is popping. Y'all know what it is, and we're coming at you on another segment of the Man Up Hour. And you know what? I got my boy Mac. Mac, say what's up to the people.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on, people? What's good?
Hey, y'all know what it is, man. And thank y'all so much for the support of the last episode. It was really good. Got some good reviews, and guess what? Even tonight, man, I got the chat open. So we're gonna have some live reviews. So y'all keep tuning in via the chat. But most importantly, man, let's give a shout out. I want to introduce someone to y'all, man. My very own. This is the president of Night Legends. Hey, matter of fact, all of those who's part of the car club, Night Legends, y'all make sure y'all leave a shout out in the comments, man. Show some love, let the people know we in the house. But man, Mike, how about you say what's up to the people, yo?
What's up, world? Hope everybody doing well.
Hey man, Hey man, that's what's up, man. And so Mike is going to be our guest appearance tonight, man, and he's going to be sharing some of his experience. And you know, Mike is he's doing a lot of good things. He's matter of fact, he's in the works of different speaking engagements around the city, and he has plans to do great things that's going to help out the community. And so we're going to be working hand in hand. Y'all know, Talk to Me fam, we're staying busy this summer, and we ain't done yet. We just starting, and so y'all stay tuned. But I'm so glad to have both of these guys on the channel and on the episode tonight. But y'all know, before we get locked and loaded, we gotta pay a couple of bills real quick, man. So before we get started, y'all make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button on the YouTube channel. All of those on Spotify, y'all know we love you. We're going 1,500 listeners strong, and we're only going to gain more and more and more. And so, man, I think the way the channel is going, it's going to lead to greater things. As a matter of fact, we're actually going to be starting a new segment on Thursdays. It's actually not new. We've been doing it on the Spotify channel, but it's the Relationship Thursdays. I'm in the process of putting together a relationship panel that is going to comprise of both men and women, and we're going to talk about some things dealing with relationships, and we're going to designate Thursdays as Relationship Thursdays. So I can't wait to get that up and running, man, and I'm just so excited, man. Don't forget, we also going to be on the road this summer doing our 2K23 summer school tour. I'm in the talks with Savannah State, got the approval from school down in Jacksonville. I don't want to release that school yet. I want that to be a surprise. But and so we're trying to get some more schools. Hopefully, man, I can make my way to Atlanta. I'd love to make my way to Atlanta. But we'd love to get some more schools on the list. But also, in addition to that, we're also doing the food truck tour, and we're going to be on the road doing that with some food truck festivals coming up very soon. So I'm very excited about that as well. So we're going to be riding. Matter of fact, Night Legends is going to be doing at some events. We're going to make sure we get some shots with the club and different things like that, man. So a lot of things going on with the channel. Y'all make sure y'all tune in, and don't forget to stay locked in with that subscription button, man. So I appreciate that. So now that the bills are all paid and good to go, let's go and get started with the topic of the Man Up Hour. And so today we're going to be touching on the topic. It's probably going to be a two-part series on the issue of the number one growing issue in America. That is the issue of fatherless homes. Me specifically, I don't know who my biological father is. I had a stepdad who came into the picture, and you know, he played his role, and I have no regrets there. But I always dealt with the issue throughout my life is, well, you know, why my dad don't want me. And what I realized as I got older, especially when I came up in the military, dealing with those doubts, was that I wasn't the only one, and that a lot of other people was going through the same thing. And so and what I like about this panel tonight between the three of us is that we all come from different backgrounds. Mike, he had both of his parents, correct, and grandparents involved in your life, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So and then Mike, and Mike can tell you himself, his own story as well, dealing with, I believe you didn't have your father. Is that correct?
At some point I did, some point I didn't. It was like a come and go type scenario with him. I learned my values from my mother and my grandfather. Just don't never give up. Keep pushing for greatness. You only get one. You only get one mother and one father. All you can do is try. You can't make them do it. But what I went through also helped me become the man that I am, and I want to be able to reach out and pull other men up, because us as men, they see us as we're not supposed to break. We're not supposed to go through things. They just think we're unbreakable. But we have our own issues too. But don't get lost in what's going on. Keep pushing. All you can do is give your best every day, day in, day out. I have my own kids now, and I do the best I can by my children. I might not be with them every day, but they will never question the love and the joy and excitement I have every time I see them.
Right.
Sometimes we feel like we may not make a difference, but it's the little things we do that the kids notice. If you say you're gonna come and get them, come and get them. If they say they need something, help them. We gotta guide them in the right direction. We can't teach them wrong and expect them to know right. We gotta be the example for them to know when they grow up what a father figure should look like, what they should accept and what they shouldn't accept. You can go ahead with it, D.
I come from a 2-parent home. So I'm well connected with my mother and my father. So I was raised, with structure and with value. So with me, I have 2 step boys, and so currently, their biological father is not really in their life, and I came into their life around about 9 or 10, 10 or 11, and every blue moon, like I say, I don't want to talk bad about another man, but they do know their father, but they don't know him the way that they should, so they do tend to me far as that our parenting figure, which and the same values that I teach them and I show them is what my father taught me. So even if some kids feel like their father don't even want them, but it's cool, if someone else is willing to step in, and to show, even some to show kids that's not even his the way to go, because it's too many of our kids in our race alone that's just going their own way and not having no guidance, not having no structure, so when my boys call me, when they need me, I'm there. I even tell them, hey, anything go on, call me, whether good or bad, let me know what's going on. If I even tell them, hey, if there's something, that you can't talk to your mother about, I told them, I said, call my line. I said, call my phone, because my phone is always on, and I can always set time aside to talk to you, because it could be something that could be going through something that's detrimental, that your words and your advice, could talk them out of doing something that they ain't got no business doing. So whether biological or not, I believe that every child deserves to have a man, a strong, structured man for them to look up to, so he can lead them by example. So, that's my take on it.
I agree with that, because what people fail to realize is that the presence of a strong father figure is a presence that can't be too easily replaced, right? We live in society where everything is very accessible. We live in society where everything is very easily replaced if we don't like it. You know, if you don't like something you personally bought for Amazon, guess what you could do? Send it right back, get your money back. If you don't like something that you decide to purchase in the store, guess what? As long as you got that receipt, you can take it back. Nowadays, they can track the card. As long as you still got the card, you can take it back. So we live in a society where things, the aim of the culture is, if it don't fit, change it, right? And what I see in a lot of times is that we was talking about this yesterday, that with the issue of fatherless homes, man, it's an issue that can't be easily fixed. It's not like guns, where people can be like, oh well, just take the guns off the streets. So it's not that easy, right? It's not a black and white to this, because me and Mac talked about it on the previous episode. We talked about character, and the issue of character is that you really don't know the character of a person until it manifests through that person's actions. And so when you're dealing with people in different personalities, it tends to get difficult when you try to search for a solution, because you're dealing with different people. And so a lot of stats that is centered around the issue of fatherless homes. They tend to think that, oh well, the answer is for men to just be more involved. I think that's a case by case basis, because every case is different. I think one man can't speak for another man's situation, because that situation may not be the same. And so, but what I began to notice when I began to look this up is that even politicians, right now we're in the heat of the battle in the terms of the presidential race. You got the Republican debate that just happened, and you got everybody out and about trying to state their cause as to why this should be the next president of the United States, and everyone's itching on the topic, but they're not really talking about the topic. And what I'm getting is that, okay, they know there's an issue of fatherless homes in America, but no one is offering a solution. Okay, they're touching the topic because it reaches the American people, but then when you start to dive in it like we are, they don't really have a solution for it, right? Because what I noticed is that, and me, Mac and Mike, we was talking about it yesterday, how we saw how the numbers began to increase, and matter of fact, how the numbers between fatherless homes and the numbers between the increase of men being incarcerated increased together, right? And so, right. And then we started thinking, well, why is that the case? Okay, so guess what happens? Dad gets locked up, right? Dad gets locked up. So now that becomes a fatherless home, right? Because dad's in jail. Dad's in jail, and guess who's getting the money for him being in the bed? The state. And so as long as that bed is filled, someone's getting paid off of that, right? But guess who takes the pitfall? The child, the family. So how do we compensate for that? The government provides assistance, and depending on how far or how long that dad is away, child support becomes available. Now, I'm gonna throw some stats out there, because I told y'all I'm a stat guy. But check this out. So I've read that, and this is what I found out. And you can see all of these stats yourself on fatherhood.org, which is a really good site, by the way, for you guys to go and you want to get some more information on the issue of the fatherless homes. But you go on fatherhood.org or the National Fatherhood Initiative, okay? And it breaks everything down. You can even buy resources to help you understand it better. But one of the things that I found was that 70% of African children in America live in single-parent homes. 70%. Now, majority of the children in that 70% that's raised, they're raised by women in those single-parent homes. To date, 14 million children are in the child support system. 14 million.
Wow.
And over 50% of those children are being raised by women who are receiving assistance from the child support system. Now, check this out. Here's the startling statistic about that. Now, out those 50% that are women that are receiving the child assistance from the child support system, they're only receiving up to 60% that is owed to them, which is maybe roughly around $3,500 a year. Now, you tell me, right, the impact of a father on a child, right? Is that $3,500 really more valuable than the impact of a father in the being involved in his child's life? Because we live in a society where child support is praised more than the presence of a father.
But the thing is, this is Western civilization. I mean, you gotta look at this right here. No amount of money is worth anyone's absence. You know, whether a life being taken or whether a father is missing from the home, and it comes to the point, if you definitely, you know, to the women, if you rather have that money than have that man there, you know what? You need to take a good look at yourself. Now, it's different if you have a man, you know, that's no good. That's not about trying to excel in life, you know, and do right by you, you know, and your child or children. That's a different case. But if you just really out there just to be bitter, to get back at a man, no, money is not worth it, because, you know, the lack of a father can determine a child's future, you know, because, you know, like I said before, definitely when it comes to a male, a woman definitely in these days and time cannot raise a boy to be a man. Cannot. And then also when it comes to a female, a young lady picks her mate or her boyfriend or whoever by the way her father treats her mother. You know, so that father figure, either way, for both male and female, needs to be there. Because I mean, as you can see today, boys and girls with no father figure, as they say today, most boys, oh man, you know what? I'm trying to sort her out. And then she don't know better, and she go for it, because most girls, when they don't have that structure, the first thing to do, tell them, oh, you know, I love you, this and that, blase, blase. Dude say anything just to get in the pants, and then once he get it, or he get it a couple times, he's gone. And not only that, she has a reputation. But if she had that father in the home, she could, she could depict, hey, this is a good guy, this guy gonna treat me bad. And vice versa, with the male, if he had a strong father or a strong male role model, he would be taught how to treat a woman. So, I mean, it's all about, we need more fathers, period, man. It's no excuse for the absence. It's not, no excuse. I mean, you can't control death and you can't control sickness, but a lot of you guys that's missing, they made poor choices in life, and now their kids will go down the same road. It just continues cycling, man. It has to stop.
So let me talk to you for a minute. I'm sorry, guys, if I feel like I'm stepping on some toes, but as a man, you should never accept the answer from a woman that you're not allowed to see your child. I hear so many younger fathers saying, she won't let me see him. She won't do this. Bro, we got to fight for our rights. We got to fight just like the same way we get put on child support and we don't do what we supposed to do. We got to stand up. We got to make a movement together. We can't move in silence. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. We need to start letting our brothers know, hey, man, you messed up. Go fix that situation. Don't tell them it's fine because that's your homeboy. No, we need accountability for our brothers. Accountability. We need to come together and make a movement.
Hey, I second that. Matter of fact, man, I wish I can remember the dude's name. But I was listening to him today. But he was on the TED Talk, and this dude is 40 years old, and his dad was in and out his life, and he explained as a child he was the kid that was waiting on the couch for dad to pick him up. And he was that kid at the football game looking in the stands when dad said, hey, I'm gonna be there, but he didn't show up. And and so many times as a child he explained, like, he would wonder, a lot of times it caused him to think of himself less as a person, because he's like, well, why he ain't showing up for me, right? What is it about me that he don't want to come pick me up? He don't want to spend time with me, right? And so the thing is that we have to understand later on, and I'll touch on it at the end of the show. But one thing he began to explain was, every time that his dad did not came through when he said he would, it caused him as a child to create a false reality in his mind where he was accepted. And that was the beginning of him learning to suppress his feelings. And so when he said that, a lot of times I think like, why we as men suppress how we feel so much? Why, does it start when it's early? Does it start because I'm looking at the stats, man? Like, for example, 47% of kids, they're saying 47% of kids who are living without their father in the home are more likely to live in poverty, right? They're saying that children who dads are most of the time incarcerated, they tend to have more severe cases of depression, right? And then the most surprising fact they're saying is that men with absent fathers are more likely to become more absent fathers themselves. And so I'm looking at all these things, and one thing that comes in mind is generational impact. Like, when does enough become enough to where we as men, we take accountability for our absence? We take accountability for our wrongdoing, right? Just like Mike was just saying, like, when is there going to be a movement of accountability, right? I can't tell you how many times I've talked to guys, man, and all I hear out their mouth is, man, my baby mama, man, my baby mama, man, my baby mama. I'm like, man, okay, so what? What you doing as a man? It's like almost as if your power as a man rests in the hands of your baby mama. And last time I checked, we as men are men.
Well, let me impose for one thing, as a man, stop looking for baby mamas. That's the first thing. Stop looking for baby mamas. That's the first thing. If I step on some toes, well, some toes just got stepped on.
Hey, but that's the first. Step on some toes with this because it's an uncomfortable topic. So keep stepping on.
Baby mama. Stop running from women. Stop running from woman to woman. That's the problem right there. That's why you have so many single mother households, right there, because you got dudes running from woman to woman to woman to woman. Man, stop. Brothers need to find you, man, that one queen, man. That one queen. That's the issue, and also vice versa. with the women. Stop laying down with every man that tell you something sweet in your ear. Stop. Because it's getting crazy. Like I don't even like the term baby mama. That to me, that makes it sound so, and I hate to say this, sound so ghettoish or hood. My baby mama, no. Say my kid's mother. Put it in a better term. Show more respect. Even if you and her don't get along, show more respect. Hey, that's my kid's mother. Stop saying my mama. That's no, man. It's time out. You know, because words are powerful, man. And a lot of situations that we're in because the way we speak, the way we think. We have to change our lives, man, and change the way we speak, man, and you know, in our thinking process. That's why some of us are in the boat we in today for not thinking.
And don't get it twisted. I know every case is different. I mean, you got some difficult women out there that make it very tough for a man to be a father, right?
That's true.
And then you got some men who just blatantly just don't want to be a dad. I get it. Like, there's different cases out there, but we're not saying this is the bar across all cases, right? What we're saying is that there is a factor that is in play here that no one is talking about. And me personally, I think there's only two things that's going to lead to a permanent solution in the fatherless homes. And then I hope there's some politicians that's listening or whatever, you know, whoever running, they want to know what's going to be the solution. I'll give you the solution right here, and this is what I personally believe. It's two things that's very simple: accountability and forgiveness. I believe those two things, when you've already made a mistake, or let's say the relationship is already done, and as a byproduct of that relationship, a child is born, right? That child doesn't deserve two bitter parents fighting against each other
at all.
That child don't deserve two parents who can't coexist. That child don't deserve that, because that child didn't ask for that. You know, that child deserves two parents that's going to love and take care of them. So what does that require from the two people who no longer see eye to eye? Two things that I just said: accountability and forgiveness. The accountability comes in play where the woman realizes what they've done wrong and they've accepted that. The men realize what they've done wrong and accept that. Now the two come together and they realize, okay, what we need to do for the betterment of the child. Okay? And then they make it happen, right? That's where accountability comes in. And forgiveness is very important. I've been raised to learn that forgiveness is not really for the next person, it's for you.
True.
It's for you to be able to move forward in your life. Because if you running around life and you're still going off of 30 years of pain, you got some deep searching to do, my boy. You got some deep searching to do, young lady, because somewhere along the line, you're not going to live the fullness of your life because you're still holding that man hostage for 30 years of pain. Well, pain that happened 30 years ago. When really, you could have been living life free. You could be living life. You could have been living life being happy and being happy with your child. Instead of all they seeing is two parents who can't agree on who's going to get who this weekend, or two parents who can't agree on who going to get who for the holidays, or who going to do it. That child don't deserve that. Accountability and forgiveness. Those two things go hand in hand if we even thinking about a solution to the fatherless home. That's me personally. Because I listened to a young lady today. And y'all feel free to chime in anytime. But I listened to a young lady today on a podcast, and this young lady, I think she's like in her early 20s, right? and she was asked a question about how she was raised, her if she had a good relationship with her dad. This girl broke down in tears and cried. She said, I had way too many father figures in my life.
Oh.
And she went on to apologize to her mom and say, Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry. She's saying it out of love, but she's also saying it out of a place of pain. And I felt that when she said it. She said, I've had way too many father figures in my life. And she said it got to the point to where, I've got multiple father figure relationships, right? And everyone is speaking, but the one that she's really caring the most about is her biological dad, who's not absent. Who's not present in her life. And so one thing we got to realize is that this thing called the father factor is very important, because it does two things in the eyes of a child. For one, when fathers are involved, they instill what's called chastity in the lives of their daughters, which helps them to become ladies. Okay? And then as for men, what the dad does is instill discipline, what helps them to become a man. Because so many young men are in the streets these days, and they even tell you, well, I'm just the number one regret in young men, and this is what I've seen based upon testimonies and things that I've seen when I looked this up. But the number one regret that young men have is that, hey, no one taught me that this wasn't the way to go. I had to figure it out on my own.
I was ready to say, while we're on the subject, my grandma used to always tell me, do unto others as you want done to you. So I'm speaking to the men and the women on this one, not just one and not the other. Don't go out here and mess up a happy home for a couple minutes of fun. We got to focus on the kids and the situation. It's a whole lot easier to run away from a problem than face a problem. And that makes us part of the problem. Because without our guidance, without our mentorship, what do our kids have? You got some dads out here that get mad because another dad is trying to step up and be a dad to your daughter. Step up to the plate, fathers, and give your kids the love and the time they deserve. Because I'm speaking from experience. I went on deployments. When I came home, I had to go about 3 months before my daughter spoke to me, because she didn't know who I was at the time. I was gone so long. Always remember, don't put that job before your kids. Don't put your homeboy before your kids. Our kids need us. Our kids need us.
It can't get no simpler than that, man. And the reason why we talked about it is because no one else is. And one thing, and I made the statement on the last episode, is that the whole purpose of this show is that, man, if we can save a life, save a family through just words being spoken, or given a platform for words to be spoken that it normally wouldn't be said elsewhere, we'll do that. Because sometimes, man, I'm gonna be honest, I met a young kid. I used to work at a youth detention center in Jacksonville, and it was an all males facility ranging from 16 to 18, and I can't tell you how many family fun days went by, and these kids, man, they're up for a week. They're up the whole week prior. They're like, my family coming. Oh yeah, my mom's coming. Oh yeah, my cousin's coming. And then family day came and no one showed up.
Wow.
I can't tell you that at the age of 18, some of these kids, they were intentionally repeat offenders. Like, they would literally say, hey, we want to go and work with Mr. Trent. Because, man, I'll pull him in the back, man. I'll put him to work. We'll be listening to some music and just chatting. Some of them, man, they can rap and spit bars. And that's all they wanted, was just somebody to just see them. That's all they wanted. And some of these, Some of these kids, the state labeled as very violent, very aggressive kids. But then they get around me and man, we chilling like it's nothing. And I watched these kids, man, where they would come in at 16, constantly get in trouble because one, they knew they had nobody outside the four walls to go to. So when it came down time for them to be released, maybe a year later, they'd get into some trouble or into some major offense to make them stay another year. But the thing is once you turn 18, the state views you as an adult. So what I saw was when these kids would literally stay inside the youth detention center from 16 to 18 because that's all the family they know.
Mm-hmm.
And when the 18 comes out, guess what the state does? Leave them right outside of the gate. Now you tell me, right? You tell me. This kid haven't seen the outside four walls in what? 5, maybe 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 2, 3, depending on time when they got in there. And now at 18, right? You expect them to be so institutionalized to where they can operate as an adult. And the thing is, guess what they do? They don't even set up no Uber. They don't set up no taxi. They say, hey, you're a grown man now. Here's your bags. Drop you off at the front of the building. You got to figure life out. Guess what, family? Mom ain't show up to pick you up. There's nowhere to be found. Brother and sister, nowhere to be found. Some of these kids coming in from different states. Now they're 18 and got to figure it out. Now guess what? Guess what happens? True story. Kid got released, 18 years old. Man, he told me the night before, man, he's like, Mr. Trent, I really appreciate you taking the time out and talking to me about the Bible, talking to me about God and stuff. We talk about everything, man. And he said, honestly, that's all I've been wanting my whole life is just someone just to spend time with me. He said his parents his mom was a doctor, his dad was a lawyer. They had so much money in the family, but they were never home. So he would just get into stupid stuff. He would go and rob cars, get into car crashes, speed, do drugs, all kind of things, man. And guess what? The police would pick him up, bring him to the detention center. He was a repeat offender. When he turned 18, they released him. And guess who didn't show up at the gate? Mom or dad. Guess what happened to this guy a month later? He's in the state prison. The main reason why I say that is because, I mean, there's an absence, man. There's an absence that needs to be filled. I mean, thank God for men who see the void and they do everything they can to be that presence. But there's something that comes from, there's a factor that only comes from a biological dad that can't be replicated in anyone else.
That's true.
And I'm saying that from experience, man. I was in the military, and the best advice they could give me is that, hey, we'll put you on Maury, we'll put you on we got Maury, VH1, they got shows. They love military people to get on there, and they love the reconnection story. Like, what?
All of that.
That's the best advice you got to give me. I walked out that office like I never went in. You know, and I learned to deal with it.
All of that is foolishness, man. Put you on Maury, MTV, man. Look here, man. Y'all better go on with that mess, man. That's not even a tad bit helpful at all, you know. And from my point of view, I always, now that I'm the man that I am, I always wonder, like, what if my father wasn't in my life? Because what my father taught me as a child, back then I didn't understand because I was a child. But now that I'm grown, because he drilled it in me, now I see how to move. I see, you know, how to be responsible, man. And I guess it's been some people, ruffled their feathers because the way I was raised, which we all been raised differently, but, you know, one thing about it, my father taught me how to be a man. Mm-hmm. You know, and me and my father is close as day. You know, like, my father is the only man I ever looked up to, far as in I want to be just like, and I still do. Yeah, I mean, I told my father the other day, I said, man, I said, I thank you for the life lessons. I thank you for the teachers, but I said, I feel like I can't fill your shoes. I want to, and he told me, he was like, it's not for you to fill my shoes. It's for you to be better than me. Mm. You know, and I look at it, most fathers, most kids don't even hear that at all. Even as adults, they don't even hear that. You know, they just raising kids off of, they kind of winging it. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I come from, you know, a family where if my mom did more disciplining than my dad because my dad was working. But the thing about it was, my dad was like the thunder. You know what I'm saying? He spoke loud. Now, if he came with a lightning, that's because I got my behind tore up. Mm-hmm. But I come from a time where you wait till your daddy come home. That's when you know you about to get it. Mm. You know, most kids now, they don't even get that. They don't even get that. They be like, my daddy, man, look here, I don't even know that sucker. I don't know him. I don't care about him. And it's bad when your own seed say that about you. That I don't know you. I don't care. Or I mean, that's horrible. Mm-hmm. You know, definitely, you know, if your child can't even describe you, mm-hmm. that gotta be a horrible feeling.
I tell you what, I've learned to not invalidate someone's feelings because their feelings doesn't fall in line to my reality. Because True. The thing is, everyone is living their life. Everyone is living their life, you know, and just because I may not agree with how they feel don't make it valid. Just because I'm not living what they're living don't mean it's not true. And so and you know, we'll shut down for this segment because it's so much that we could talk about in terms. That's why we're going to do a part 2. But I think in conclusion, what we can get in all of this is that men, specifically talking to the men, accountability. That's a word that we don't like to hear. Because I tell you what, the minute you tell someone about themselves, the first thing they do is they fall into a defense.
Right.
They begin to, well, man, how you gonna tell me about me? How you gonna some of them, they like to bring up your flaws in defense of their flaws, right? Without even acknowledging what they did wrong, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, bro, that's not what accountability is. What that is gaslighting, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. For example, because it's a real world we live in. If you don't have your family because you was being physically abusive to your spouse, that's your fault.
Right.
Like, that's straight up. Because no man should be putting their hands on a woman, period. I don't care how mad you get. Go out the house, walk down the street, go to the gym, hit a wall. Hey, you're going to be paying for it. But hey, at least you ain't hit no woman. You know what I'm saying? You know, the folks gonna be looking at you. Hey, imagine you walking in Planet Fitness, you punch the window, bang, the window break. Oh, that's you gonna be paying. Hey, rather pay for a window than go to jail for domestic assault.
You still might go to jail.
Yeah, that's vandalism. But what I'm saying is, man, I was taught this. Is that there is always a way of escape. It's a matter of if you're looking for one.
Yeah.
Sometimes we as men, we get so wild up in our emotions, we forget that we have an opportunity to escape. And we allow our emotions to get the best of us, and then when the outcome comes out the way it did, we don't like it, and then we don't like to be held accountable for it. Well, y'all know what she did, y'all don't know what she did, y'all don't know what she did. Yeah, okay, true, we may not know what she did, but we know what you did. We know what you did. You know, that we gotta take accountability, man. This is the last stat I'm gonna throw out tonight before we head to the conclusion, bro. 92% of parents in prison are fathers. 92. 92% of parents in prison are fathers, and that number has increased since 1991 and has grew to over 79%. Yep. So
I mean,
I say all this to say this. Accountability. No one's going to take care of you like you.
True.
No one going to look out for you like you. And as much as we could put the blame on everything else around us, we're in control of our environment. We are in control of the people we allow into our lives. We are in control of the things that we allow to exit out of our mouths. We are in control of who we choose to put these hands on.
True.
We're in control of that. I don't care how emotionally unstable you are, and if you're a man that is emotionally unstable, that means you got a lot of things that's unresolved inside of you. Cause there ain't nothing pretty about a man who can't control his emotions. And who can't think clearly for themselves. How can you lead a household? No wonder she left. Because a woman is going to be submissive to a man that she know can lead her.
Right.
And if that woman feel like you can't lead her, what point is it? Why would she stay?
You're right.
Some women stay because they feel like they're so invested. They've invested so much into you. Some women, they stay because they thought they could change you. So they invest time, they invest money, they invest effort, and some of them choose to stay because they're like, hey, I done so much for you. I'm due this, until they realize it's not even worth it no more.
Yep.
So whose fault is that? Is it still hers, or is it us? Accountability. You was gonna say something, Mike?
Yeah, thing was, if you look at it, this is how the system designed it. They put it to where most fathers are incarcerated, man, because in the long run, it's going to lead to the destruction of the kids. And then, like you said, it's going to be a continuous cycle. If you got a son, now you got the son in jail, you know, and then he have a child, or, you know, whether male or female, it's just a continuous cycle, man. And that's the way that society wants it, man. But the thing is, we have not yet to see the game that they're playing. Us as men, we fall victim to the same thing every day. It's like we said when we talked yesterday, right? It's like a football team that keeps running the same exact play every time.
Every time.
When you gonna switch it out?
Yep. And so,
I mean,
it's honestly that simple, bro. It's like, just like you said, like, when does enough become enough to where we realize, man, we gotta do something different? Our thinking has to be different. You know, how we move in life as men gotta be different. You know, sometimes it takes us to go through hell and back for our thinking to change. Why does it have to be like that? You know, oftentimes with men, the phrase is associated, the struggle. I feel like, man, a lot of times, man, as men, we don't have to struggle to learn a lesson.
Right.
Why do I have to go broke to realize how to manage my finances? Why do I have to why do I have to reach the bottom in order to look up? Why can't I already be on top of the mountain continuing to look up?
You're right.
And a lot of times gosh, man, I wish we had time, but we're gonna have to cut it. But you know, a lot of times we praise the struggle more than the one who made it without the struggle. We would praise and look up to the one who been through the struggle more than the one who was able to divert the struggle and still make it. Now, does that person who was able to be successful without the struggle, is he any less of a person than the one who struggled and made it? That's the question. Because I still see two people that make it, but the difference between the two is that they went different avenues. Does that mean one is less than the other? I don't believe so. But I think what separates the two is one person made better decisions than the other.
Yeah, the one who didn't struggle took the abnormal route. Mm-hmm. They taking the normal route.
Mm-hmm. When everybody was partying, he was studying.
Right.
When check this out. When everybody was in the mall blowing it up, he was saving.
Right.
When one person who had $5 in their name and went and spent that, he realized, hey, I gotta put this in the bank. I can only spend 2 out the 5.
But you gotta remember though, what did the Bible say? The Bible says, be in the world, but not of the world. And most people in today's society, even back then, even years before we was born, it's still more people that's of the world than in the world. Remember, when you're different, you're going to receive more flack than anything else. You're going to receive people going to talk about you, blah blah blah, this and that, whoop de whoop. They're going to say whatever. But when you get to where you need to be in life, they be like, well, hey man, but how you did that? Hey, you know what? Remember when you was talking about me? Remember when I was on my grind, doing it the abnormal way, while you was out there partying and going to the mall, spending money? Yeah, that's how I did it.
That's right. Anything you gotta say about that, Mike, before we cut out?
I just want to go back to something you hit on a couple minutes ago. You remember a while ago you said we're in control of who we put our hands on, right? Mm-hmm. I challenge us as fathers to put your hands on the man beside you and lift him up instead of knocking him down. If you see somebody going through something, help them with that battle. Don't judge them based on that battle. Because us as men, we tend to let our pride get the best of us. We don't want to vent. We want to act like we tough and don't need help. But we struggle just like everybody else, but we do it in silent. So silent becomes overwhelming and we have a big outburst. So I challenge you. I don't care if you were out and about and you see a man just sitting head down. If you don't know him, go over there and sit beside him and lift that man up. Because he might not have nobody else to lift him up. He might not have nobody else to let him speak. He may not have nobody to speak to. We got to come together as one to make a movement. Don't nothing work with just one person. Ain't nothing gonna work with just one person. I don't care what it is and what you do.
Facts, man. Boy, you touched on one right there, boy. I tell you. Look, you said a mouthful right there. Man, we could have had a whole we could have cut right there and have a whole part 2 right there off of what you just said. But what you said is true though. What you said is true though, and matter of fact, what you said actually took me back to what my boy Max said on our previous episode, and it was a quote that his dad told him, and that quote was that the only time that you should be looking down at a man is if you're pulling him up, and I believe that 110%. That if you ain't doing nothing but pulling the next man up, shut up. Keep it moving about your business, because guess what, man, at the end of the day, if you ain't helping the problem, you are the problem, and that's how it's going to be. There's so many people out there that is not helping solve the problem. They're just creating more problems being the problem. And I'm just at the point to where look, just shut up and live your life. If you ain't trying to help the next person, go live your life and stay in your lane. That's fine. That's your right. But for everybody else who's trying to make an impact and make a difference, look, help somebody. Pull somebody up, man. It's just like this show, right? This show, nobody can't take away what we talk about here.
No.
This is legacy at its finest. It's this topic, this show, this time that we have right now is going to stand the test of time. And we can look back 10, 20 years and say, look, we did that. That's legacy. And there's nothing more important to a man that has a family than to leave what? A legacy. And I pose a question to this as we shut down part 1 for us men. What legacy are you going to leave? What are people going to say about you when you die? Are you just going to be another RIP on the shirt? Is people just going to be like, yeah, man, hey, such and such hey, we had a good time. We used to drink it up all the time. That's all people gonna say about you? That you was just another good time? Because let me tell you something. I'll tell you this. I can't tell you how many funerals I've been to, family included, where we've cried, and 3 months later, guess who's still living their life?
Yeah.
Us. Guess where you at? In the ground, body decomposed. And guess what still, and you're just another name on a t-shirt. Some people don't even wear the t-shirt no more after the funeral, except if they walk around the house. I want my life to be an impact, not only in my kids' life, but I want to be able to say, you know, when I leave this earth, man, I want people to say, hey, man, you know, that dude right there, I want my life to be an impact in someone else's life. To where, you know, I'm more than just a shirt. I'm a legacy. I'm a legacy. You want to know why it's so important for these actors and these singers and people in Hollywood to get their name enshrined on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood? Legacy. Legacy. No one can't take that from them. You can walk and their name will be there forever.
Right.
It's legacy. And the thing about legacy is that if you want to leave a legacy, you got to live a life of accountability. And for some, that may be a list of do's and don'ts. For some, that may be a list of, hey, I'm going to go here and not there. I'm going to sleep with this person and not that person. I'm going to choose to do this and not this. You know, that's life. And if you're living for something, there's going to be pros and cons and everything. But I leave you with this. What are you living for, man? Like, is your family going to be a legacy? What legacy are you leaving in the lives of your children? And especially, and we're going to talk about it a little bit next week. But the impacts of daughters. Do you realize, men, for all those who have daughters, that their view on how men are in their lives starts with you? You are the first man that they ever encounter in their life. So the presence of you or the lack thereof will shape their perspective on men moving forward in their life. So when your daughters run around saying men ain't shit, I wonder where that came from.
What they seen.
I mean, we're gonna keep it 100, or we're gonna keep it 100. I wonder where that came from.
We're gonna keep it 100.
We'll keep 100, man. A whole buck.
A whole buck. Cause what if you trash? What if the only thing you presented to your daughter is inconsistency? What if the only thing you presented to your daughter is a emotionally unavailable man?
And that's why they have mental issues. That's why they have mental issues.
And then you wonder why they grow up to be promiscuous, or even more promiscuous. Yeah, if I can say it. But another time, another episode. Another time. Look, man. Look, I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
It gotta be another time and another episode. You're talking to me. I got 2 daughters.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, we went a little bit overboard today, but we talked about so much. We talked about so much that needed to be talked about. Matter of fact, we went so much overboard, we ain't even got time to do the topic corner, but that's okay. I may cancel out topic corner for next week too, because we need all the time we can to talk about this issue right here, because everything plays into why dads are not in the home, including our own self-demise and our decision-making skills. And we're going to touch on it more next week, more in tune with pride issues, why we make bad decisions, and why a lot of times the dads who are in their child's life and actively engaged in their families are oftentimes looked down upon by the homies. Why they oftentimes being talked about from the brothers. Why they can't come out no more. Oh, you letting your woman run your life. There's more to that. But we'll get into all that next week, man. We'll get into all that next week. But, man, look, I appreciate Matt Deasy being on the show.
Hey, man. Hey, anytime you need me, I'm here.
Hey, that's keeping it 100. And y'all know, man, hey, y'all welcome the fam. Mike, man, he the president of the one and only Night Legends, man. And look, he's hopefully, man, he'll be back on the show next week if he wants, man. We can do it again. We can run it back. And so, we
gotta run it back.
Oh yeah, man. That's that's automatic.
Hey, for sure, because what we're doing here is bigger than us, and we see that. We acknowledge that, and we know the lane that we're running in. And you know what? You got 3 guys right here that's going to run it to the very end. And guess what? And whoever want to hop on board, y'all make sure y'all catch this wave, catch this movement. That's what we're about. So shout out to these two. Shout out to Night Legends, man. Shout out, man, to I gotta give a couple of shout outs real quick to the chat box. Shout out to Samantha from Houston. Shout out to Anthony from Atlanta. Shout out to Mike from Charleston. Shout out to Tiffany from Jacksonville for tuning in, man. I love you guys in the chat. And y'all know the chat was going live the whole time, man. But they a lot of positive feedback. But I appreciate y'all, man, and the reason why I call out those specific people is because they are always in the chat on every episode since day one. And I appreciate y'all so much, man. I appreciate my day ones. But look, man, that's all we have today. And we'll be back next Friday on another edition of the Man Up Hour. Y'all make sure to tune into our Spotify channel. That's where you get more content every day. Tuesday through Thursday. Actually, Tuesday through Friday. There's always content on the Spotify channel. And make sure y'all like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Man, I really appreciate y'all. It helps us to push forward these videos to the algorithm. But I appreciate everybody for the support. We're doing great things. Y'all make sure, man, y'all continue to stay locked in and tuned in. But none other, no less, your boy signing off. This is Trent. Peace.
Live my life. Peace.